Good.
That's good. Good.
This is Shari Dovale with Redoubt News. We are here with David Barton from Wallbuilders. Hello, sir.
Hey, Shari, how are you?
I am good. You did a great speech today. I really
Thank you.
enjoyed it. You gave me a lot of things to think about. I am what I call a student of the Constitution.
Good.
I can never call myself a scholar because I don't think I'll ever rise to that level because I'm still learning every day.
We should all be. We should all
You gave
be.
me a lot of things to think about. One of the things I noticed is you talked a lot about the oath. And I have been following a lot of federal trials in the last couple of years. And I've been in several federal courtrooms where they do not require anybody to
Right.
talk about God.
Right.
Can you address that issue?
Yeah, that's a trend that's going. It's a real problem because the federal code requires it to be part of the oath. And so some individual judges are starting not to do that. State law in most states also requires that be part of the oath. So just as they kind of get sloppy in a lot of areas and don't follow laws well, we don't need that anymore. Well, actually we do, because an oath, by old definitions, Joseph Story, commentaries on the Constitution, appointed to the court by James Madison, those guys who wrote the great commentaries talked how that an oath was designed to bind your conscience. And binding your conscience is what kept you realizing, I may be a good guy, but part of what keeps me straight is recognizing that I'm accountable, particularly to God. There's a lot of things I can hide from other individuals, other people, they'll never find out, but there's nothing I can hide from God, and I'm going to have to answer to Him at some point. So I can lie to you with a straight face, you would never know, He'll know. And so that oath was whatever was most solemn in binding your conscience. Now, we had Quakers who didn't believe in oaths, and that's why the Constitution says, make oath or affirm. And so the Quakers would do that, but it was still to God. And so there was no concept of a secular oath. And actually, in early American law for a century and a half, if you had a conscience that you didn't think could be bound by God, and particularly that's why, in courts, they did not allow atheists to testify because there was nothing to bind their conscience. If they lied, who did they answer to? And so, until really, I guess about 1960s is when the courts changed that.
I never did. So you give me something new every time you talk to me.
Well, there's so much judicial activism, they kind of do what they want. But until the 1960s, you had to have a belief in God to even be a testifier in court, because otherwise, how do we know that you're telling the truth? Now, today a lot of Christians are really sloppy about faith and they don't worry about accounting to God, so it doesn't bind even them today. But it used to be that there was such a cognizance of God. And it's interesting that in the early state constitutions like Pennsylvania 1776, North Carolina, etc., you had to take oath that you believed in a future state of rewards and punishments. And that is, I believe that someday I will stand before a creator and answer for everything. And if I believe that, then that's going to keep me straight in private when voters aren't watching me, when nobody's seeing what I'm doing. And so corruption was really, really down. You'll find that by the time you get to the late 1960s, corruption in America has gone through the roof. It's gone up about 1,400% over a period of a decade. Because we just lost that cognizance of I've got to do the right thing because God's watching. And so that's what oaths used to be all about. And that's why George Washington, in his farewell address, said, never let our oaths become secular. Because if you do, you lose your property, your reputation, and your life. So religious oaths are what the founders believed in.
Yeah, and we are definitely having a problem with people running away from God. And that's what we are fighting and what we're trying to get everybody back to.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that we don't see where God's very practical anymore. And people of faith and churches have done a really lousy job of showing how practical it is. I mean, most people do not know the Bible addresses subjects like capital gains tax, like taxes, like estate taxes. It addresses things like progressive income tax. It tells you what kind of taxes are good or bad. Most people don't know that's in the Bible. And so we've made faith so irrelevant that we can kind of do without it. But in the founding era, they knew how the Bible applied to all public policy, and it was much more relevant, much more useful. And that's our fault for not making the Bible be useful, and it is.
You lay all this out on your Wallbuilders website,
We
don't
do.
you?
We do.
And would you like to tell everybody a little bit about that real quick?
Yeah, Wallbuilders is a name we get from the Bible book of Nehemiah. It's not because we're doing anything on the southern wall with borders or immigration. Wallbuilders is Nehemiah rebuilding that which has been torn down, in that case the walls of Jerusalem. So we're a big believer in grassroots, so you get healthy from the bottom up, not the top down. And so we call people to get involved in rebuilding the things that have been torn down. So our website is wallbuilders.com. We have a collection, probably the largest privately held collection of original founding documents in America, about 120,000 documents from before 1812. A lot of them are on the website. You can see original documents about all sorts of constitutional issues on wallbuilders.com.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Bless you.
Well, I've enjoyed